Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. And Steve Willits, we're back for another exciting week.
Yeah, we're about midway through all of the seasons right now, and things are getting a little exciting. We're starting to kind of figure out who's where in the pecking order, and a lot of great sports this past week.
That's right. And before we go any further, Red Onion Burgers, our sponsor, as always, we appreciate their support. And if you want to show your support, please visit them online. They have a new online ordering system, redonionburgers.com, or visit them in Malik Terrace. And
210th and 44th. We figured that out.
Yes, we did get the address right, finally. Yes, and so football, my gosh, we were both in the press box on Friday night, and we thought that was going to be an exciting game, and it turned out to be sort of one-sided.
It was exciting for one of the teams.
Yeah, right.
Meadowdale versus Linwood, a game that we thought would go a long ways in deciding who had a really nice shot at winning the division championship. We thought this was going to be a very close game, and it was not. Meadowdale, 41 points in the first half, 41-14 score at halftime. Drew Tingstad threw 4 touchdown passes and over 300 yards in the first half alone. Halen Roberts had a huge game in the first half. I think he had like 187 yards of receiving. They come out in the second half, and they just did more of the same. And one player who we knew was good before the night started, but we really found out how great he can be at times, is a guy that we're going to put a picture up of right now. That's Jashawn Butler. Butler, who plays cornerback and running back for the Mavs, had one of the nicest interceptions for touchdowns that I've seen in a long time. Just jumped a pattern beautifully, intercepted a pass and took it to the house. And then he had 3 touchdown runs in the game as well. So a great game from him. But again, great game all around for the Mavericks, and we brought 2 of their players in to talk about it tonight. Quarterback Drew Tingstad and also linebacker Quinton Bourgette. And here's that conversation we had with them about their football team and their big victory on Friday night. Final score Friday night at Edmonds Stadium: the Meadowdale Mavericks defeat the Linwood Royals 55-28. To be honest, it probably wasn't even that close. Linwood scores the last 2 touchdowns of the game. A game that was very highly anticipated, a game that everybody thought was going to be a very tight-knit game, and these guys went out and dominated. With us right now, the quarterback for the Meadowdale Mavericks, Drew Tingstad. We also have the middle linebacker for Meadowdale, Quinton Bourgette, 2 guys who played a very instrumental role in that game. Drew, I'm going to start off with you. 41-14 score at halftime.
Yeah.
Halftime. I had you down unofficially for a little over 300 yards and 4 touchdown passes in one half. That's insane. Tell me about the game a little bit. Did you guys see something on film going into it that you thought you could expose, or was everything just clicking?
Yeah, we knew they were going to stack the box on Kella. We knew he's a really good athlete.
That's Kella Marshall, the running back, right?
Yeah, so they put about 7 guys in the box, and we took our matchups outside. Halen Roberts, we're going to take that guy one-on-one just about any day of the week. And we really exploited them early and often, and that was really good to see.
And just everything just seemed to be open the entire game. Getting it done on the defensive side too, Quinton, you guys come up with some big stops there early on. I know forcing a fumble there early in the game, getting the ball back for your team. How do you feel like your team did on the defensive side of things?
I feel like we did really well. We only gave up 14 points. A couple of them, there was a couple big plays that we just gave up, but I think we just really focused on stopping the run and stopping, because they have a lot of athletes. A couple of them were out apparently, and we didn't know that until game time. But Alton, their quarterback, and then Mikey, their running back, they have a couple big athletes back there, and so we knew we had to really hammer down that run. And so I think we got it done, and we had to force them into a spread package, and that's when we knew we had them where we want them.
And now the defense often gets overlooked on this team. I know offensively you guys are putting up some big numbers, and that's what makes the papers a lot, right? But you guys have pitched 2 shutouts already this year. How big of a number is that for you? When you, I know the game the week before, I think it was Shorewood.
Yeah.
They were driving down for a score late in the game. They got to the 1-yard line on the second and third stringers, and then you guys went flying back in there to handle business. And how important is that for you guys to get shutouts when you can?
It's a real big confidence booster, I think, especially for a really young defense, I think, because we have a lot of guys who haven't played. Especially our D linemen, and actually just everywhere. We have a lot of new guys playing. So I think, especially with the first one we got, it was a big confidence booster, and then going in with the JV kids coming in, they almost give it up, and then Leonard letting us go back in and getting that big 19-yard setback and that blocked PAT or field goal. I think it's really just not really ego, but it gives us a big boost to let it also a statement, I guess, that our defense is just as good as our offense, I guess.
Sure. Now, Drew, quarterback, and we should put up a picture here really quick as well. There's you in action on Friday night.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed about your game, and I think you and I talked about this when we were interviewing you as a player of the game the previous week, the thing I noticed about you a lot lately is that when the pocket starts to crash, you've done a really nice job, and I hate to draw a comparison to Russell Wilson, although that's not a bad comparison, right? You'll take that.
Yeah.
You seem to step up in the pocket really well, and where a lot of quarterbacks will tuck the ball away and just immediately start running, you almost start running with the intent to still throw downfield. Unless nothing opens up, then you take off running, and you've done a really nice job of finding receivers late in a play. Is that something that's instinctive for you, or do you work on that?
It kind of just happens, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely a point of emphasis to keep your eyes downfield. And my receivers have done a great job coming back to me and giving me the capability to be able to make plays and to keep my eyes downfield so that I can see them. And then my line has done a great job pushing guys outside of me. So then, like you said, I can step up and then still make plays downfield. And that's kind of through a bunch of repetition through all the offseason and footwork and whatnot. But yeah, kind of putting my practice into the game, it's kind of been huge, and I appreciate the compliment.
Absolutely. Well, hey, 14 touchdowns throwing, that is, and 3 rushing touchdowns for you this year. Not a bad way to start the season off. We got to give Quinton a hard time, too. I know we talked about your defensive abilities, but offensively, were you ever going to see you back out on the field? I know we played a little guard against Monroe earlier this year. Drew, what do we think? Are we going to get this guy back out there?
I mean, I want him on offense. I mean, who knows? Maybe we could turn around and hand him the ball once or twice on the goal line. A nice little earthquake package. Maybe Brendan Diaz.
There we go.
Get some personnel.
Well, and you did get to touch the ball on Friday night. I know early third quarter. I think it was either the first or second play from scrimmage. Linwood fumble. Kind of popped right into your hands almost.
Yeah.
Take me through that play a little bit on your fumble recovery.
So I saw it was kind of like a draw play, and luckily so I read pass, and so normally I would have just got my eyes to the receiver and I wouldn't have seen the draw coming, but luckily we had a blitz going, so I was manned up, and so I was already looking at the running back, and so I saw him get the ball, and it was kind of weird because our D lineman got the play, and so he punched the ball out. I think it was Hunter Clift, number 57, and he just punched the ball out, and we kind of just swapped roles because the ball just it was just popped there, and I just caught it, and then I think it was Mikey, number 34.
Kirkman,
yeah, Mikey Kirkman, and then he became the tackler, and it was just we swapped roles, and it was just funny because I went down immediately because I was already filling the hole. It was pretty funny, but it was an awesome moment.
More importantly, you got the turnover, and that was huge, and then you guys were able to capitalize and really put the game away.
Yeah.
Third quarter. Jashawn Butler, kind of I wouldn't say a coming out party for him because he's been a great player all year long, but we really found out who he was on Friday night. 3 touchdowns on offense, and then he had one of the better interceptions I've seen in a long time that he took back to the house. How much has he meant to both sides of the ball? Maybe we'll start with you on offense, Drew.
Well, offensively, he's definitely a change of pace guy. He's a little spark plug for us. We can dish it off to him on a little swing screen, and he kind of makes plays for us. He got a couple touchdowns called back last week that he's a little disappointed about, but we made sure to let him know that this week he's going to get his, and he definitely went out and put on for us, and that's a lot of thanks to our offensive line because there were some gaping holes that he was able to waltz right through and walk into the end zone.
Yeah, 2 long touchdown runs in that third quarter, but also the interception for a touchdown too, Quinton. That was big for you guys on defense.
Yeah, I mean he's really worked hard to get where he is because he's a little undersized, but he's an electric player. We lost him for a couple weeks during the Monroe game. He got a concussion, and but we knew getting him back that it was just it's a huge bonus, especially on the defensive side of the ball because he really has just a knack for the game that you can't coach and you can't teach someone it, but he's a ball hawk, but it's awesome to have him back at that corner spot.
Sure. I should mention too, on Friday you guys had fun all around. It wasn't just that night at the game. Earlier on in the morning I saw you guys had to be at school 6 o'clock? Did I get that right?
Oh
Yeah.
King 5 was there to do a sports blitz segment which appeared on the news later on that morning. I happened to be watching, and tell me what that experience was like in the gymnasium. I guess a couple hundred people there. What did we have?
It was a lot of fun. It's a completely new experience, and we didn't really know what to expect going in, but King 5 was, they were very energetic, and they got us going, and the shout out to the Meadowdale fan base, because they were huge for us, and it was really cool, nice little pep rally to get us going for the game, and can't complain with the results, so, yeah.
Did you guys need coffee to get at 6 a.m. and get that much energy and enthusiasm, or was it just all kind of come flowing in once the cameras came on?
I think it just kind of came. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I think it's just kind of woke up, it's game day, and I just every day game day. I'm never really tired on game days. I'm just ready to go.
So it was fun all around, and it's even more fun being 5-1 on the season. 4-0 in conference play, so you're undefeated. You have a 2-game lead over everybody except for one team, Edmonds-Woodway Warriors. They're also 4-0. It's setting up rather nicely. You guys play Shorecrest this week. They play Shorewood, the 2 last-place teams in the league. So we've got to assume that you're probably both undefeated going into your big matchup on October 21st. You guys call it the Jam the Stands game, correct?
Yes,
Edmonds-Woodway refers to it as the Stadium Jam, so we'll let you decide what to call it. What we're going to call it in the media this year is probably a battle for the division and a battle for first place. Have you guys already started to kind of, I know Coach doesn't want to hear this, but have you started to look ahead a little bit and think about what that game might be like?
We can tell you that we're looking forward to it. They're definitely our number 1 rival, and we want to take the W every single year, and we got them last year, so we want to continue the tradition.
And I've got to think, Quinton, this is a team that's not too far from you guys proximity-wise. I mean, a lot of players know each other. I think there's anytime you get a number of individuals on a team, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I'm sure there's some friendships even between these two teams. So a lot of bragging rights for the city of Edmonds, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm from Linwood myself, but I think it's always a big game. It was a big game last year. We came out with a W, like Drew said. But whether it's Jam the Stands or Stadium Jam, both schools come out, and it's always an electrifying atmosphere because both the fan bases are huge, and it's the biggest game of the year for, at least I know the fans love to come out to it. But I think we don't try. Obviously, like you said, Coach doesn't want us to look too far ahead.
Right. You got to play one game at a time, right?
Yeah,
sure.
But I think we're all kind of have that in the back of our head, knowing that's going to be a big game to decide the conference.
It'll be fun. And I'm going to do one even better here. I'm going to look even further ahead. Sorry, Coach Leonard. You both are having outstanding years. Any thoughts about playing college football somewhere? I know, Drew, for you, your brother Caleb's playing at Western Oregon right now. Dad played at Boise State.
Yes.
Something you want to pursue maybe after you're done with high school?
Yes, definitely. If that pathway opens up for me, I'm more than happy to walk right in there. But I'm going to focus on right now for sure. If some colleges come knocking, I'll open the door. But until then, Meadowdale Mavericks, Mouse Mom.
Colleges, you need to watch this guy, by the way. He's having a phenomenal season. Quinton, what about you? I know you've certainly got that motor always out there on the field. I have a feeling you could play at the next level. Is that something you want?
Oh, of course. I mean, I appreciate that, by the way. But, I mean, kind of like Drew said, if the opportunity's there, of course I'll take it. But, I mean, of course I'd love to play at the next level because football is I mean, I don't really know what to say, but if the opportunity is there, I'd love to take it.
So for the time being, they're going to keep their number 48 and their number 10 jerseys on because it seems to be working really well for them and for the Meadowdale Maverick football team. Hey, Quinton Bourgette, thank you very much for coming in tonight. Drew Tingstad, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, these guys playing Friday night at Shoreline Stadium against Shorecrest, and then the following week, I believe it's a 5 o'clock game, October 21st, it is the Jam the Stands / Stadium Jam game that will decide who is in first place after that night. So keep watching, and we will keep updating you on Meadowdale Maverick football all season long.
It's fun to listen to those guys talk about their team and how together and close they are, and great season ahead for them, I think.
Yeah, 5 wins in a row coming into this week, and a Shorewood team coming up that's really been struggling this year. So we're thinking they're going to get win number 6, but really after that, that game coming up on October 21st, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it is. And, I had a chance to watch the Edmonds-Woodway Snohomish game on our partner station, stspn.com. And it was just an amazing game, so exciting, and just a thrill to see that.
Right down to the wire.
Yeah.
Edmonds-Woodway, 14-14 at halftime, I believe. Second half, Cameron Krall, the starting quarterback, goes down with an injury, so Reilly Chappell has to come in and relieve him. Leads them on 2 touchdown scores. Where things got really interesting was Snohomish scored a touchdown with 1:10 to go in the game, made it a 2-point game at that point, went for 2, didn't get it. Edmonds-Woodway holds on for the 28-26 victory. More importantly, it gives Snohomish their second loss of the season in conference play, so it pretty much puts them out of the running for, we think anyway, for the district championship or the division championship. Edmonds-Woodway now tied with Meadowdale in first place with 0 losses on the season in conference play. Everybody else is at least 2 games behind them, so it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. While we're talking about Edmonds-Woodway, we are going to segue this. You'll see where we're going with this. But the Edmonds-Woodway soccer team, the girls' soccer team, playing very well right now. We have a picture of a game earlier this week. There's Molly Carden with a corner kick. The girls, who we had a couple of them in the studio a few weeks ago, and I'd like to think that maybe we should get some credit for this. Maybe not, but we brought Ellie Scholl and Kia Mackey in here. And since we brought them in 3 games into their season, they've played 9 matches. They've won 6. They've tied 3. But their goal differential in those 9 matches, they've scored 18 goals and they've only given up 1. So they're playing very well right now. And being that we had the Edmonds-Woodway football team go out and get a victory, the girls are playing extremely well. Why not combine those two for an interview? Why not combine 2 from the same family? Reilly Chappell, who we just mentioned, the star quarterback the other night, his younger sister Gaby is one of the soccer stars on the team. So we brought Reilly and Gaby in to talk about Warriors football, Warriors girls soccer, and a few other things as well. So here's that interview. And with us right now, 2 members of the Edmonds-Woodway athletic family, 2 members of the Chappell family too, brother and sister here. Reilly, who is a junior, Gaby is a sophomore, and you two, huge weeks for both of you. Gaby, Tuesday night, you played soccer against Everett, 2-0 win, and you get a goal. Yeah. Turn around on Thursday, you get a 3-0 win over Stanwood. And then big brother here, all you do is you go out and you play a game against Snohomish the other night. 14-14, second half, you're the backup quarterback. Cameron Krall, the starting quarterback, goes down with an injury, and all you do is go in and lead 2 touchdown drives down the field and win the game 28-26. Got to be a big week in your family. But Mom and Dad pretty proud right now? How are they feeling?
Very.
Yeah, my mom couldn't make it out to the Friday game, so when she heard about it, she was super jazzed. She came home late that night from work, and she pulled me aside, told me how proud of me she was, congratulated me. It was pretty awesome.
And we should mention, too, Gaby, Mom and Dad both with roots at Woodway/Edmonds-Woodway.
Yeah.
Dad, Isaac, played football and basketball and track at Woodway High School, the last graduating class, and then Mom even went 1 year to Edmonds-Woodway, correct, to graduate. So it's kind of all in the family. Is it kind of neat for you guys, Gaby? Do you guys ever have a chance to talk to your parents about it?
Yeah, our parents actually still have like old videotapes of their games, and so we've watched those before, and it's really cool. And our whole family's been there.
And I understand there's 2 more coming up behind you too, right? We've got Sydney, who's a 7th grader, and then KJ, who's a 4th grader. So I'm guessing little sister looks up to you, Gaby, and little brother looks up to you, Reilly. Is that kind of how it is?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Killian plays for the Edmonds Junior Football Program. He wears my number, plays quarterback, wears a towel, everything. It's pretty awesome to see.
So pretty cool experience. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Friday game. It's always a little tough, I think, when you're the backup quarterback. You never know when your number is going to get called, so to speak. You needed that win against Snohomish. It was you're battling for a first-place spot right now. You know you needed to win that game in order to stay in first place. All of a sudden in the third quarter, Cameron goes down. What's going through your mind at that point?
I had no idea that I was going to go until it was 3rd and 15. I came over telling him, all right, it's time to make a big drive. Let's go get this lead. And I saw him getting attended to by trainers on the bench. So I had time to take maybe 2 snaps and throw 3 balls before Gradwell called my number, said, you're in.
And I'm noticing here, looking at some of the notes, late in the game, 21-20 at one point, that's the score. You guys have a 4th and 4 on the 10-yard line. I should mention first, a few plays earlier, you completed a long pass to Jalen Nash, I think. And then you get 4th and 4 on the 10-yard line. Could have been an easy decision. Coach could have said, you know what, we're going to kick a field goal here. Showing a lot of confidence in you. It kept you in the game, and you guys completed a 9-yard pass. I think it was to Costa Cooper. Tell me about that play a little bit.
Coach called a timeout, came in, said, here's what we're going to do. He had a plan. We ran a tight end screen, which we rarely run. So, everybody's asking questions. What do I do? Block it like a regular fullback screen. Rolled left, turned around to my right, and couldn't see him, so I just kind of threw it in that area. He made a great play on it, broke a tackle, and got tackled at about the 1-yard line.
And then I think 1 play later, 2 plays later, you get the chance to reward yourself. You got the touchdown, right?
Yeah, drive before that, we gave it to Capascio on about the half-yard line, and he took it a half-yard in. And I was joking with Coach, saying, Coach, you should have given it to me. So I walked over to him for the play, and he said, all right, you can take it. So, yeah, we're going to QB sneak, got it in.
They ended up winning by 2, so it ends up being the winning points. And Gaby, what does it mean for you, too? I know you mentioned to me before we started taping that you go to all the games. You're sitting up there in the stands with your friends, and all of a sudden, there goes number 10 into the game. That had to be pretty cool.
Oh, it's super cool. I'm extremely proud of Reilly and all that he's beginning to do and has done this season, and I hope that he can do more of that.
And it gets reciprocated, too, I understand. I know Tuesdays usually when Gaby's playing, not exactly an easy night for you as a football player to get over there, but you mentioned you try to catch the Thursday games when you can?
Most of the Thursday games are home, so after our little football team dinners, I go out there with a bunch of the guys, and we always watch Gaby and the girls play.
And playing pretty well, too. Finished your freshman year, and this is a pretty cool story. You played most of your freshman year JV. Now, when you were in 8th grade, this team won the state championship.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure here. When you're a freshman, you're playing JV, all of a sudden the team makes it back to the state tournament again. They call you up, and then in the quarterfinals, I think it was against, was it Central Kitsap?
Yeah.
You scored the winning goal in that game. What kind of experience was that?
Oh, that was crazy, and it felt so good, especially because I worked so hard to get from JV to varsity, and just knowing that I did that and I helped them in their road to state just felt amazing.
Feel like you're part of the team at that point, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you guys are pretty busy when you're not playing for your school teams too. I know Reilly, you Edmonds Sports Academy, you play basketball for them, and you play basketball at school as well. And you played junior football in the feeder program with Chris Gradwell, who is the younger, or I guess the older brother of your football coach now, John Gradwell. How did those experiences get you ready for high school?
Chris and John are very similar. You know, Chris and Coach Gradwell are very similar. So it's kind of like having a year to play for Coach Gradwell before actually going to the high school and playing with Coach Gradwell. Plus, I mean, I had Noah Becker, I had Capaccio, I had Xavier Belcher on that team. So it's playing with a lot of the guys that you'd go up and eventually play at the high school with.
So it got you prepared and ready to go and ready for a big situation like you came into on Friday night.
Exactly.
And then, Gaby, you keep pretty busy too. And I should mention other sports as well. Track, you were part of the 4x200 team that took 6th place in state last year. As a freshman. Again, that's pretty impressive. So do you have a favorite sport? I mean, are you just enjoying everything right now?
Soccer is my main sport, but I love track and field.
Continue to do that all throughout high school then?
Yeah, I'll do both.
And then I noticed here you took a nice trip to, I guess it was Boise over the off season. You're playing on your club team, and you got invited to go to North Carolina. Tell me about that experience.
That's super cool because I got invited to go play with an older team in North Carolina as a center defender, which I'm not playing for the high school team. I'm playing outside mid. So it's super cool that I get to play one of the positions I feel really comfortable in with an older team, and it's like an honor that I was invited to go do that.
Sure, and that's I know a lot of the colleges, they use those as their showcases too. So are you already starting to get looked at a little bit, even though you're only a sophomore?
I haven't really looked at any specific schools, but I have gone to a lot of showcase tournaments where there's been opportunities to get looked at. So.
Which is great for the soccer community, and that they're doing a lot of that. It's not just what you're performing at the high school right now. It's in some cases, I think the clubs get even more exposure for college than that. And now, what about you, Reilly? What are your future ambitions? You got some time still. I should also mention before we let you go any further, playing a little tight end too one particular week against Mount Lake Terrace. So you're kind of the jack of all trades wherever they need you. Tell me a little bit about that experience first, and what brought that on.
Well, Costa Cooper, our regular tight end, who I threw the pass to on Friday, he went out of town with the baseball tournament in Arizona. So originally we were going to try to put Ali in there, but it turned out that didn't work out. So we were freaking out, thinking who are we going to put in on Tuesday or Wednesday. I stepped up kind of as a joke, and Gradwell threw me in there, and it stuck for the week.
Well, and Coach Gradwell, maybe if you might be playing some quarterback moving forward, but if not, maybe a little double tight end set, you and Costa together.
You never know. You never know.
So we'll see what happens there. And again, you're only a junior, but any thoughts about college yet at this point? Have you given it any consideration?
Nah, not really. Not really yet. I've kind of dabbled in it, but I haven't gone super deep into anything yet.
Sure. You got a little time left. Looking ahead at both of your schedules here, you both have big matchups coming up. Gaby, you first. Tuesday night, you guys are heading up to Arlington. For all intents and purposes, Arlington, both of you are undefeated, but you have 3 ties on your record. I think Arlington has 1. So they're kind of holding a little edge on you right now. It's essentially for first place. That's a big game on Tuesday night.
It is a very big game, but I feel really confident in the team. We've been on a good run, and we're figuring stuff out, so it should be a good, challenging game, but I think we're ready for it.
And the one other thing I should mention, and we do have a picture we want to put up of you too. So there you are against Stanwood the other night. So certainly having a great season. Interesting side note here. We brought Kia and Ellie in a few weeks ago and talked to them. I think you were 3 matches into the season at that point. I want to say the record was 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 tie.
Yeah.
You've played 9 matches since then, and you've outscored your opponents in those 9 matches 18-1. So you're definitely catching fire as the season goes on here.
Yes.
So I'm sure, and Arlington's only given up 5 goals themselves this year, so that could be a really good matchup. You're going to miss it, unfortunately. It's a Tuesday and it's up in Arlington, but you've got your own things to worry about here. You've got a football game coming up this weekend against Shorewood, and not to look too far ahead, but we did this with a previous interview tonight with a couple of the guys from the Meadowdale football team. Depending on who you ask, we'll call it the Stadium Jam for you guys, right? Mm-hmm. Or Jam the Stands, as they like to call it in Meadowdale. The big rivalry game coming up in a little over a week and a half right now, October 21st. You two are tied for first place right now. Everybody else is at least 2 games behind you in the standings, so it really could come down to that game for the division. Has there started to be a little buzz at school about that? Have you guys let yourselves talk about it at all?
It's kind of like voodoo, you know. First of all, we can't look past the Shorewood game. All the coaches, all the players will stress that we're not playing Meadowdale until the game's over on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, after Shorewood, though, that game's huge.
Yeah.
No one can deny that game's huge. You know, school's buzzing about it. I'm sure there'll be posters up everywhere, but can't look past Shorewood.
One game at a time. Very smart player there. So, but again, before that, Arlington Tuesday night, Shorewood for you on Friday night. Actually, Thursday night this week, a rare Thursday night game. So get over to Edmonds Stadium for that game at 7:15. Looking forward to seeing how the two of you do, not only this season, but in the upcoming seasons as well. We've got you around here for a while. The Chappell family is going to be well represented, not only the next 2 years, but then coming up behind them as well. So, Gabby, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Reilly, appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
And best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Well, that's a great brother and sister duo. They don't seem like they fight at all.
No, they seem to get along great, and the fact that they support each other in their sporting events, it's nice to see that in families, and it's also fun to hear that they're both an older sibling to another male and female in the family who both look up to them. So it's a neat family.
Yeah, it really does sound like that. Well, and going on to just a completely different topic, cross country. I know that we had. I was fascinated by the photo I saw of related to the Mount Lake Terrace homecoming. You're going to talk about that.
Oh yeah,
right?
let's go right into that one then. We have a picture there of the Mount Lake Terrace boys. They went up against Kamiak and Mount Vernon this week, 3-team meet, and they were wearing their vintage high school jerseys. We don't know exactly which vintage or which year. I went to school there and I don't remember those, but vintage could mean anything to the kids of 2016, right? That might be 2009 for all I know.
I know. I don't even want to. We're not talking about what vintage is.
No, it could mean a number of things, but we do know one thing. We know that the boys took second in that particular meet, and the girls, and we've got a picture of them as well. There's recognize a few of those faces. We've got Sophia Nelson, Catherine Gustafson, and Jessica On. The 3 of them, as well as their teammates, they took first in that meet. So congratulations to the Hawks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Hole in the Wall Invitational was also this past weekend. That's one of the bigger cross-country meets in the entire area throughout the entire season. It takes place up at Lakewood High School up in Arlington. Some of the top runners in the entire Northwest and beyond, for that matter, come out to this one. I think 98 different schools were represented. The girls' matchup, the big one of the day, was the fact that we had Jordan Oakes from Holy Names and Taylor Rowe, whose father's a Mount Lake Terrace graduate, by the way. But Taylor runs for Lake Stevens. They both won the 3A and 4A state championships last year, so we knew it was a star-packed field, and some of our runners did pretty well. Yukino Parle finished 7th from Edmonds-Woodway. Malia Pivic took 11th. Sydney Boland took 14th. She's from Edmonds-Woodway. And 2 more Edmonds-Woodway runners also finishing in the top 25, Olivia Meader-Yetter and Stephanie Robluski. So when you start to think of all the schools and the number of teams that were there and the fact that we had that many runners that placed, pretty impressive. Girls took 3rd overall for the day, and the boys from Edmonds-Woodway took 12th. And some of the boys that had nice performances there, Matthew Park, who we seem to talk about quite a bit.
We do talk about him a lot.
He's right up there, too. He took 7th, so 7 seems to be a lucky number for Edmonds-Woodway, at least on Saturday it was. Sam McLuhan took the 16th spot, and then we finally get to talk about a non-Edmonds-Woodway runner from the school district. Cameron Sanders from Meadowdale took 35th, so a nice job from all of them, and again, a wet Saturday afternoon, but nonetheless a successful one, and we're proud of all those runners for doing a nice job there.
Yeah, that was a wet Saturday. I guess I rode a bike that day, and it was really wet.
Yeah,
so
not exactly the ideal weather, but when you're running, keeps you cool, and don't have to worry about overheating on those days. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, all right. Well, and tennis, we have a superstar that's been in the studio at least once.
Yeah,
right?
Jeremy Anstall from Mount Lake Terrace. He's kind of the one we focused on this week. We talked to Jeremy a few weeks ago when he was in here with Adam Lorraine, who was the homecoming king at Mount Lake Terrace this past week. So Adam's in the news too, go figure. But Jeremy, he's playing well still. He went up against Gunnar Thorstenson from Shorewood, and if I recall correctly, when we talked to Jeremy a couple weeks ago, he mentioned that Gunnar had defeated him in district play last year.
Right.
Both went to state, so they're kind of 1 and 2 right now in Wesco, at least so it seems. And Mount Lake Terrace did not defeat Shorewood this past week, but Jeremy was able to defeat Gunner, so he stays undefeated in league play. Gets a nice 6-4, 7-5 victory, and Jeremy's doing very well.
Oh, that's great. And, Shorewood always has top tennis talent, so to be able to come out on top in a match with somebody from there, it's great. It's really good
Yeah,
news.
they did win all 6 of the other matches, so it was
Yeah.
a 6-1 defeat, but the one came from Jeremy, which was nice.
Yeah, very good. Okay, and volleyball, what's going on there?
2 of our teams continuing to play very well. Meadowdale picked up 2 victories last week over Marysville, Getchell, and Mount Lake Terrace. Linwood also picking up 2 victories over Mount Lake Terrace and Edmonds-Woodway. Linwood has won 5 matches after losing their first 3 to start the season.
Do we get to take credit for that too?
I don't see why not, because I think they came in after I think they just won
did.
their first match.
Yeah.
So they're playing very well since, Caprice and they did a nice job after coming in, and Sabrina for that matter too. So a great job, ladies. But we're really going to find out what those 2 teams are made of this week. Thursday night, they play each other, 7 p.m. over at Meadowdale. So we've got Linwood with a 5-1 league record going against Meadowdale with a 5-2 record in the league. So I think they're both trailing Arlington right now, but they're tightly contested near the top of the standings, and that match could go a long way in seeing who finishes near the top, or maybe even gets a home match later on in the playoffs. So stay tuned to see what happens there on Thursday night.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great to find out what goes on there. And swimming now.
Yeah, a few different things going on in swimming. We did have one swimming meet this past week that we got some pictures for, so we want to go ahead and utilize those. We've got Sally Benedict from Mount Lake Terrace swimming in the pool there, and then we've got Amelia Reese from Edmonds-Woodway. Both of those schools took on Mariner in a dual meet on Tuesday, and both came out with victories. So nice job for Mount Lake Terrace and Edmonds-Woodway, and both of those schools will be back in the pool at Linwood this coming Tuesday, and they'll both be taking on Jackson. So stay tuned for more swimming results.
Okay. Well, and now we've got more
Football coming up.
football this week. Yeah, what's going on?
We've got 4 different games too. It's kind of gotten used to seeing some of our schools playing each other, but not this particular week. And we've even got a Thursday game sprinkled in here now, which we're not used to anymore. Shorewood at Edmonds-Woodway at Edmonds Stadium, 7:15 on Thursday. One little programming note: we were originally talking about broadcasting this one, but we're not going to now. It's the only game all season we won't be broadcasting at the stadium, so we will continue to broadcast Friday games. And then we've got 3 games going on Friday. One at the stadium again. It's Everett taking on Linwood. These 2 teams right now are in a 3-way tie for 3rd place, and top 4 make the playoffs. So this is a big game for both Everett and Linwood. And that game will be broadcasted on SoundLiveSportsNetwork.com. And then we've got 2 of our teams playing on the road this week. We have Meadowdale at Shorecrest, and we've got Mount Lake Terrace playing at Snohomish, a game that will be broadcasted by our sister station, STSPN.com.
Okay, good. Well, another exciting week to look forward to, and we hope you will join us next week, and we'll have all the results and stats for you. See you then.